We made an animated show with Warner, and now we're taking it back. Be a part of it.
There's no open call for content in Latin America. There's no submission portal. There's just the people standing next to you in the room and what you're willing to say and make happen. This is how this story started. We found out that Rey Mysterio was a free agent. No WWE, no other company. For the first time in years. We approached him via shared contacts because my brothers were working at AAA at the moment. We came to him with a proposal for merchandising, branding, licensing deals. He agreed to hear us out. I was in Toronto back then. It was a Saturday, and Rey was really late, which would happen quite a few times after that. When Rey finally confirmed, I was out on the street. So I started running around trying to find Wi-Fi. I ended up sitting down on the floor of a Barnes & Nobles, barely being able to see my own screen as I'm presenting. Did Rey love it? Not really. He said he was really interested in toys, but that we could talk again. And that was a win for us. 2 days later, my brothers had an unrelated meeting at the Cartoon Network offices in Mexico, newly opened. They got that meeting because of Humberto, who years before had posted on a Facebook group of all places looking for artists. My brothers responded, and that's how they met. But that's another story. But during the conversation, they noticed that Jaime, the other executive, had a lucha libre mask in his office. So they geared the conversation in that direction. At that point, one of them, I'm still not sure who, said that we were already working with Rey Mysterio. Jaime said, "Wait, that's interesting. Tell me more." So my brothers replied, "Give us a second, we're still figuring that one out. We'll get back to you." A few days later, I came back from Toronto. We all got together and we agreed. We would tell Cartoon Network we were already working with Rey, and we would tell Rey we were already working with Cartoon Network, which was not technically false. That opened the first door. If you're in this industry trying to make something happen, you might want to save this, because what happens next gets even crazier. 10 years of opening doors just to find more doors behind them. What would you do if someone kept you waiting for 13 hours for a meeting and then only gave you 5 minutes? We went through that while developing our Rey Mysterio animated show. Nobody quit that night, not even close. That night or the 10 years after. And that's the part we keep coming back to. Although now we wonder if that'll change. Here's what happened. We were working with Cartoon Network and Rey Mysterio developing our animated show, right? At the time, Conan was acting as Rey's manager, a bit informally, like a lot of things happen in our world. So we needed Conan's sign-off to be able to keep moving. He asked us to meet him at the arena at noon. So we were there at noon. He wasn't there, so we waited. He arrived a little bit later, but asked us to wait a little bit more. So we waited. Then he came back out and said we should wait because he needed to get everything ready for the show. So we waited. We weren't even able to see the show, but that's how things are when you're trying to make something happen. After the show, he came out and asked us to wait. So we waited. Finally, he came over and talked to us. We showed him everything we had, the designs, the plans, everything. He said it all sounded good, but he had this great idea for a live action show. We said we could look into it, but right now, this animated show was what we had. He said, "Yeah, it looks fine, but let's talk more another time." And he left. 5 minutes. All he gave us was 5 minutes. 3 of those minutes were about his idea. So we just left. We walked through the south of Mexico City, and then days later, maybe weeks later, we realized not one of us said anything in terms of quitting. We said nothing about how this might have been disrespectful, how it was not worth it. We just kept walking. We just kept going, as we would for the next 10 years. Gatekeepers, timelines, and agendas. That's what it costs before it costs anything else. And the system had a lot more in store for us. Everyone assumes you need a big check to get a big name. We signed Rey Mysterio for less than it would cost you to have dinner at Condesa. We're making an animated show, my brothers and I. At some point, we have Cartoon Network interested, Rey Mysterio interested, and no money whatsoever. For a licensing agreement to hold weight, money needed to exchange hands. But of course, we didn't have any. So we explained this to Rey, and without hesitation, he said, "What's the minimum that you need to make this happen. So we told him, he said yes, and we signed. We've thought about that moment a lot. At that point, still now, Rey Mysterio is one of the most recognized athletes in the world. He had heard tens of pitches. He could have waited for the big check. Instead, he went with his gut because he felt that this story needed to be told, his legacy needed to continue, and that it needed to be made by people who understood it, who loved what he loved. The money, the contract, that was not the critical component. It was the trust. And honestly, that put way more pressure on us because now we had a piece of his legacy in our hands. From that moment on, every decision, every door that opened or closed, that kept us going because no matter what, we had Rey Mysterio's trust and we could not betray that. That was the foundation. And we were about to find out many times over how much we needed it. Imagine this. You're on the phone with the largest wrestling corporation of the world, discussing the trademark of the biggest luchador of all time. And also, you're just trying to make an animated show. Quick context. My brothers and I are 3 masked Mexican creators, and we're making a show about Rey Mysterio. At this point, we have Cartoon Network, we have Rey Mysterio. What we don't have, turns out, is clean paperwork. Cartoon Network needed proof that the chain of rights was all in order. Makes perfect sense, standard due diligence. So we started pulling on the thread, and what we found stopped everything. Rey's name and image were still under WWE's name. Not because WWE was holding on to them. The contract between Rey and WWE stated clearly that Rey was the owner, and WWE acknowledged this. Just no one bothered to register the documents. Obviously, for Cartoon Network, this is a major red flag. So we called WWE trying to understand what's happening. There's waiting, there's more calls, there's waiting. It's like we're frozen. And all this time, Cartoon Network is wondering whether this can actually happen. And while we're waiting, other projects that came in after us are advancing. Frankelda, Villanos, and we're here waiting. At this point, we're acting as Rey Mysterio's de facto legal team, dealing with WWE for all of this. To their credit, they were super transparent and acknowledged everything. They helped us work through the process, we corrected it, and finally, we were able to move on. But here's what stayed with us. You've built something. You've done everything right. You think you're ready to go. And then something that has nothing to do with you just happens and deviates all the plans. Eventually, we got through this one. But now, we're always wondering what's going to happen next.